Well, we'll see if somebody gets in here or not. There we go. Now we're starting to get somebody. Give it a little bit more time and get started. What's going on, Steve? What do you know? Or Steven, sorry. I'm gonna give it just a little bit more time, and then I'm gonna start going through some comments that I haven't answered yet. There's old Peterbilt 22. Give it just a little bit more, and we're gonna run through these anyway. I don't know if y'all are watching it or not, but Dallas is killing the Eagles right now. So I wanted to run through a few old comments that I hadn't had a chance to answer, and mainly because I felt like some of them needed a little bit more detail, to answer them. I didn't want to just give some vague answer, so I felt like they deserved a little bit more information on them. So we'll start out with, I get asked this pretty common actually. So what is a truck average gross wise? I do a weekly recap. If you go back through a couple of my videos, you can kind of see what my truck has been grossing. I'm still kind of new to the whole Schneider thing, so I'm still trying to learn my freight lanes, still trying to figure out where to position my truck at and stuff like that. So, some of my earlier videos, you can see my gross isn't quite as well as it's kind of gotten a little bit better as time has went on. But catch my video on Monday. I'll recap this week, and you can kind of see what the truck gross is. But I put that gross number out there every week, though. So, with that being said, we'll just leave it at that, and we'll move on to the next one. So, there was another one on here that says, I heard that Schneider is making $3 to $5 a mile taking freight out of Georgia. And then it goes on to say that the website says owner-operators for solo can generate up to $300,000, and teams can generate $714,000. Now, I didn't get on the website and see if that's what it really says or not. I'm not real sure where that number come from. Now, the $3 to $5 a mile out of Georgia, I kind of wanted to touch on this a little bit, because there's freight all over Schneider's load board that pays $3 to $5 a mile. But the problem is that's loaded miles. Now, and a lot of times that $3 to $5 is not going very far. It's going to be a little short trip. It's not going to stretch out, several hundred miles. You can make $5 a mile, but if you only carry it 10 miles, you're only making $50. So, it doesn't make sense, especially if you got a deadhead 100 miles to go get it. So, I mean, somebody can brag all day long that they're making $5 a mile, but once you throw that deadhead on there, it's not $5 a mile no more. So, I'll be honest, there is a lot of stuff on Schneider's load board that pays, like the rate per mile just looks amazing, but then you look at it and it's only like $50 load, $100 load. Like, so you got to sort through that trash sometimes. I mean, somebody might want to haul it, but I don't have any interest in hauling something that's only going to pay me, you know, it's gonna burn up several hours of my day. So I don't typically mess with it. I like to find the stuff that's going to stretch out a couple 100 miles, you know, and pay me a decent day rate. That's what I try to look at. I always try to look at how long something's going to take me, and I want to make sure that I'm making at least $700 for a 24-hour span. I like to be up there closer to $1,000, but yeah. For the question as, is there freight coming out of Georgia that pays $3 to $5 a mile? There's freight down there. Matter of fact, I'm headed down there next week. And there is good freight down there too. So it's there, like I said, but a lot of times whenever you start talking $3 to $5 a mile, it's usually real short hops. So, as for the, can solos generate up to 300,000? Steven says, show me the money. Yeah, I'm all about show me the money too, man. So on the 300,000, I crunched the numbers on it. It's possible to do 300,000, but you're going to run 52 weeks out of the year, though. I mean, that's my opinion on it. If you want to run 52 weeks, then go ahead. I kind of like going home myself. So, and as for teams running 714, now I don't know what team, how much revenue teams do here. I've never dealt with it here. But the 300,000, like I said, it's possible. Like, if I've taken my numbers that I've ran, and if I did that every single week, then I would do 300,000. But like I said, I would have to run 52 weeks out of the year to get to that number. So, and I'm just not going to. So, let me look here. Try to make sure I didn't miss any comments here while I was reading through these. Let's see. Oh, I had somebody saying something about in one of these other comments, wanting to know if I thought they lived in between the St. Louis area and the Chicago area, and basically they just want to be able to run like a 300-mile radius of their house, basically. So I want to touch on this a little bit. I'm not a naysayer. I'm not ever going to tell somebody they can't do something. But I will say, when I think of somebody that's wanting to stay within 300 miles of their house, it's usually somebody that's trying to be home either every night or every other night. And to be honest, like up in the Northeast, I think that's very possible. I think if you lived up in that area where everything is so tight and so close together, it's very, very possible. And the freight up there all pays pretty consistently. So, if you wanted to bounce from New York to Massachusetts to Connecticut and kind of kept bouncing around, the rates stay consistent everywhere you bounce up there. As long as you don't come out, if you're not trying to come out of that area, the rates stay consistent up there from what I've seen. Now, like I said, I'm new at this. I'm still learning the lanes and all that. But with the Chicago area, I will tell you, freight coming out of that area pays really well. But freight going back into it does not. So, you might find something that pays really good going to Chicago, but you coming, got that backwards. My bad. Got that backwards. Coming out of Chicago, paying really good, but then going back, it's not. So the thing about running a lease truck, though, this is what I wanted to touch on. You've got to be, I want to say, versatile. You can't. What is Vum and Go? Chad, Peterbilt 22. Did you see that? Because somebody else said that on your live earlier. What does that mean? Does anybody know what Vum and Go means? Yeah, Steven, the Midwest is where the freight's at. You know, if you can stay in that area where it's flat, you know, your fuel mileage is going to stay good. You know, it's going to stay up there. But what I was getting at, though, on that whole radius of staying within 300 miles, in a lease truck, it's going to be hard to make the kind of money. Now, you can make money. Let me rephrase this. You can make money, but at the end of the week, how much are you going to actually profit and take home? I feel like you're not going to gross what you would if you was out here running over the road. And so then my question becomes, why take the risk and liability to run a lease truck when you could go be a company driver and run something local, you know, and make the same kind of money that you would at the end of the week? If that makes sense, you know. I could go home and run a local job and make $1,000 a week, you know, and then come out. If I tried to run a lease truck and stayed within 300 miles of my house, then at the end of the week, if after all my expenses was paid and I only made $1,000, what was the point of me taking the risk and not having any benefits, being self-employed? You know, it does, to me, it doesn't equate. I mean, I might as well go home and have benefits and, you know, paid holidays and stuff like that, you know, if I'm only going to make $1,000 a week, you know. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Like, not like I said, I'm not a naysayer. I'm not ever going to tell somebody they can't do something. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're just going to run 300-mile around your house, you might as well go local, and you might as well just go work for somebody, because your lease payments and your expenses are going to eat you up. Like, you won't be able to gross near the amount of money that you need to make to run a lease truck. Now, I know there's people out there that do it with paid off trucks, and that's all fine and dandy. If you ain't got a truck payment, you know, you can stay within a little radius of your house, and, you know, and be home every other night or whatever. But like I said, if you're going to run a brand new truck with a high payment, you're going to have to get out here and stretch its legs a little bit. I mean, that's just my opinion on it. I'm not going to say it can't be done, but my thoughts are is at the end of the week, if you're only going to make X amount of money that you could make running local with somebody else, you might as well just go run local with somebody else. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that one. The Chicago St. Louis area is a good area, though. Yeah, come on, y'all, hit that like button for sure. Y'all hit it. Hit the thumbs up. Let's see. Oh, somebody asked about my truck payment. How much is it? If you go watch the Prime versus SFI video, I break down all the fixed expenses, and I discuss the payment, how much the payment on these SFI trucks are. Now, some of the payments vary. See, Steven says, how much is your truck? So I'll just tell you, if you watch that video, though, like I was saying, it breaks it down and it takes it to the dollar. With my truck payment and my maintenance account, my truck payment's right at just a hair over $1,100 a week. So like 909, man, now you got me on the spot here. It's like 940 or 970 of that is my actual truck payment. Owner Op says his is 1062. Owner Op, what year model is yours? I was curious about that whenever I saw your comment the other day. Mine's a 2022. I just got it in August. It was brand new. Had 56 miles on it when I got in it. So Um, and the reason, I'm pretty sure the reason why my payment's a little bit more than yours is, yeah, 2020. The price of trucks is going through the roof. Now, that's a whole nother subject. Like, we could get off on this and talk about this all night long. The truck shortage is ridiculous right now. Like, and the prices of trucks are ridiculous. Yeah. People are paying over $100,000 for used Freightliners that have 400,000 miles on them. No. This time last year, you could buy that same truck for like $60,000. Like, Trucker says, hell, that's my fuel for my ugly duckling. SFI owns all Schneider trucks. I think they do. They've probably got a deal worked out. I mean, when you get into them big corporations like that, they like Prime did the same thing. You had Prime was a trucking company, and then Success Leasing was the leasing company, but it was all owned by the same person. Like, they break it up so there's tax purposes for all that. Like, it's they separate the different businesses so that way they can break down the taxes a little differently. But I'm pretty sure Schneider probably is SFI. You know, I mean, it is. It's Schneider Finance Incorporated or something like that. But anyway, Schneider probably actually owns SFI, and it's just a different branch, and they just break it up for tax purposes. Ran flatbed for Prime. I did. That's how I got my... I've had a CDL. So I had a CDL before I got to Prime, but I didn't have an air brake endorsement. And my brother is the EVP CFO. I saw that in one of your comments the other day. I actually had to Google what that meant. I wasn't even sure. Now, I knew what CFO meant, but I didn't know the EVP or whatever. I was like, what EVP? What is EVP? But so I had to do a little Google research. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So anyway, but yeah, I actually had a CDL, but I didn't have an air brake endorsement, and I didn't have any OTR experience. So I actually went to Prime and got my CDL through them. But I already had experience driving because in my previous employment, I'd already drove semis, dump trucks, you know, water trucks, you know, the whole 9 yards. So driving one of these, it was a little bit different, but it wasn't much, you know. And I did flatbed. I've done open deck for, 16 years, I think, before I started doing this. This is my first time doing dry van. Dry van's a whole new ball game for me. So that's been a learning experience. So anyway, I got sidetracked there. I don't remember where I was going with that. Let me go back through here and see if I didn't miss something. They are a damn good place. I really don't have anything bad to say about Prime. I did my, you know, I was there a little bit longer than what I planned on being there. I will say one of my only regret to Prime is I did not purchase the truck that I leased. I should have went ahead and just put the money down in the beginning, and right now I would still have that truck. That is my only regret. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, it's part of life, you know. Like I said, I didn't plan on being there as long as I was there, and you know, things happen in life, you know, and you deal with it. But yeah, I really don't have anything negative to say about Prime. Prime was good to me. They did let me run their, what they call their load selection board or whatever, where they give you the 3 options, and I was able, once they started doing that, I was able to run where I wanted to run. for the most part. Sometimes that load selection was kind of a joke, but and to my understanding, I don't think they're letting too many people do it anymore. I think they've kind of been phasing it out. But yeah, load choice. Yeah, that's what I was on, load choice. And my buddy was telling me the other day, because he had the same. Yeah, you get three loads at a time. Yeah, the funny thing was, they'd say that you get 3 loads, you get the option of 3 loads, but a lot of times them 3 loads was the same thing. Like, it would be the exact same load, not necessarily the same load number, but it would go from the same place to the same place. All 3 loads would be same shipper, same receiver, same hours, pretty much the same weights, and paid all the same. I was like, that's not a choice. It's not a choice. You're basically giving me one choice, but you're calling it 3. And that's just how it was. I did learn with that, though. A lot of times, if you, I would just decline all of it. And then what I would find is sales was always hanging on to the good loads, because they wanted to make sure their loads got moved. So they would hang on to them and then dispatch them out as they needed to. So a lot of times I found that if I just declined all of them, sales would send me something way better than what was on them on that load choice. But yeah, my buddy has the same dispatcher that I had, and she told him the other day that he was the only one on her board that still had it. Yeah, I liked it whenever I declined a load and then they would turn around and send it to me again. That's what I liked. I always got a kick out of that. I was like, I just told you I didn't want that load. 30 minutes later, you send me the same load? Like, I still don't want it. So, oh, anyway. But yeah, my buddy told me that he's the only one that's still on his dispatcher's board that has that option of load choice. So, anyway. Oh, gosh. Owner Rob, we're going to have to hook up one time, man. You live way too close for us not to hook up one time. I bet we've probably ran into each other at the Walmart or something. We just didn't even know it, so. Where's everybody at tonight? I think I'm done with the questions, unless y'all got some questions. I think that was the main ones I wanted to touch on. Yeah, we need to, man. I'll let you know, Or Loves on Choctaw Road. So I park there in the summertime. My wife is a teacher, so parking there during the school year doesn't work so well for me, because she's the one that takes me to the truck. But in the summertime, that is where I park is at the Loves in Choctaw whenever I go home, because it actually, I typically park at that Sinclair over there at the McLeod exit. Indiana in the house. I say Sinclair, I think it's a Quick Stop, actually. Hold on, I gotta check on this score. Yeah, Dallas is still winning. My buddy's gonna be tickled about that tomorrow. He's a big Dallas fan. California. Oh, Peterbilt 22s in California. I already knew that. He's been telling me all week long he's down there where it's 80 degrees. Shelbyville, Tennessee. Man, y'all got hammered with some snow the other day. It's like the whole state of Tennessee and Kentucky just got covered in snow. Springfield, Missouri. I was there just the other day. Let's see, what day was it? It was Tuesday. I stayed at the Pilot there in Springfield. That's the first time I'd ever even stayed there, because the entire time I ran with Prime, I always just went to the terminal. I never went to that Pilot there. Pilot or Flying J, I can't ever remember what it is. Same thing to me, but you came from PA. I was headed to PA. The load that canceled on me was actually going from Ohio up to Massachusetts. So that night all that snow hit, I probably would have been sitting up right in the middle of PA or northern PA. So I'm kind of glad it canceled on me. Pulled in with 1 minute left on the clock. Man, I kid you not, I parked the other night with 9 minutes left on my 14-hour day. I'd ran all day long. I didn't run hardly any miles because I got stuck sitting a bunch. But yeah, 9 minutes. Yeah, I am happy it did. Because to be honest, so I didn't end up making as much money this week as I would have because I had a really good week scheduled out. But had I got hung up in that snow or something, it would have just wrecked the next couple of loads that I had scheduled anyway. So there's a chance I probably wouldn't have made that much money anyway. So, and I'd have took the risk. You know, you get up in situations like that, you take the risk of getting in an accident. Like, I'm fine with driving in the snow. I have no problems with it. Anybody that knows me, I mean, I'm not afraid. I'll throw chains and go over a pass. Like, stuff like that don't slow me down, or it slows me down, but it's not going to stop me, you know. So, but it's everybody around you that you can't control, you know. But and I know a lot of people say, well, I just park, you know. People don't know how to drive. Well, people don't know how to drive even when it's sunny and dry outside. So to me it's no different. Like I'll still run when it's snowing and everything else, as long as there's not a visibility issue, or I keep the wheels moving. So who else is in here? We keep bouncing around. Mother live earlier. I tried to do a live earlier and it didn't go so well. I got a couple minutes into it and then the wife started calling, and it's, man, my first live, and it just turned out to be a wreck. Oh, but we've recovered. Dropped a load in Tennessee and hauled butt. Yeah, I bet. Did you go north or south? Man. Let me look through here. We'll make sure I didn't miss any questions. You went east? So did any of it catch you or not, or? Because it came out of like Kansas, didn't it? So it dropped down. It came out of Nebraska and Kansas and dropped down. I mean, depending on when you headed east, I guess you could have stayed. You probably did stay out of it then. Hey, I'll respond to one of your I'll respond to one of your comments with my email, and just email me, and then we'll hook up, man. Yeah, no snow for me either. I hit a little freezing rain though coming across. I finally hit some. I was coming out of Ohio, coming across here on 70. And hit some freezing rain before I got to where was I at? In between Indianapolis and in St. Louis, I think. Yeah, I was in between Indianapolis and St. Louis, somewhere in there. I can't remember where I was at. But it was like 20 degrees and started sprinkling. All right, bud. You have a good night. But yeah, it started sprinkling, and man, the windshield immediately froze up. So, had to kick the defrost on. That's the first time I'd gotten wet during all of that crap. Like, I didn't see any snow. My truck's been nasty as crap, though. All kinds of salt and grime all kicked up on it. It needs a bath, but I'll take that over running through that crap any day. I'll wash a truck and not even, it doesn't even bother me one bit. So anyway, this is starting to drag out a little bit. I've answered all the questions unless somebody else has got another question, but y'all make sure to hit that thumbs up. Be safe, like always. Keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Y'all have a good night. Y'all be safe, stay warm.